Hello and welcome again to Between the Sheets, the show where we look inside the newspapers for the stories that you really should be looking into. So today I'm joined by the late editor for the newspaper, that's Benjamin Butterworth, and indeed columnist and broadcaster Dawn Neesom. Did Harry receive money from Prince Charles or not?
Perish the thought they might have told Porkies.
So here we go. Every paper seems to have laid into him. Charles gave substantial sum to Harry for new life abroad. The Prince of Wales gave the Duke of Sussex a substantial sum to start his new life, according to sources close to Prince Charles, undermining Prince Harry's claim that his father cut him off. And indeed, and then the Mail has a double-page spread. Duke said he was cut off, but Prince spent substantial sum. And I suppose, look, here's the point, which I find absolutely astonishing. So Prince Harry probably thought that he should have money forever. And maybe Charles said, here's a dollop of cash, set yourself up, and then I'm done.
But we're not talking a pittance here. You know, the Bank of Daddy is normally not... Probably around about £3 million we're talking. And this was in the summer of 2020 when he was negotiating with the Oprah thing to do that hideous programme, which wasn't an interview, it was just a PR puff full of porkies. But I mean, you know, £4.45 million Charles split between his two lads, and I suspect he gave more to Harry given the circumstances that they were in.
And even if he didn't, I mean, here's the point, is that for Prince Harry, who is now living in this very expensive house in on the west coast of America.
He's got a mortgage, though, love. He's got a mortgage.
Has he?
Yeah.
A little bit of a mortgage.
It's a $12 million house, isn't it?
Yes, it is a $12 million house. And it's got chickens and dogs.
Well, they need those 15 bedrooms and bathrooms.
But it's the lack of understanding as to, you know, here's he trying to tell us how to live our lives and how to live their lives, and they're doing this book, and every single time somebody does something, I don't think they realise that the damage that they are doing to the institution, the embarrassment that it is, that they come out with this stuff, and they are clearly unhinged.
And let's not forget that the 4.45 million that Harry got a huge chunk of is on top of the 35 million he inherited from the Queen Mum, the 7.5 million he inherited from his mother, and the 120 million he gets from Netflix and Spotify. It must have been a struggle.
Well, we don't know the 120 million figure is accurate. That's the report. But also, of course, that goes into all of the production costs.
It's about what we believe in the newspapers, Benjamin.
Right, but that 100 million will include everything that you pay for all the production staff and everything. So that won't be going straight into their back pocket.
He might be asset rich and cash poor. And of course, his life now is probably very expensive.
Well, look,
he just messes around with chickens all day.
I doubt he's cash poor. You know, I don't think he's quite ringing up Marcus Rashford to get free school meals for the kids. You know, I think he's doing all right.
Not yet.
But look, you know, they made a big fuss about, obviously, the controversy over Frogmore Cottage and the fact that we paid, best part of £2 million to do that up.
Yeah, 2.4 actually.
And then they said, we've paid it off. And I thought, well, good for you. That's a dignified thing to do. Well, if you got £3 million from Daddy, well, of course they paid it off. It wouldn't have even cost him a penny.
Well, exactly.
You know, and I think that's what makes me frustrated and dubious about this, because I am not on the anti-Meghan and Harry bandwagon. You know, I think they've...
Aren't you? Even despite everything they've done.
Here's my
getting
point.
A bit much.
But, you know, I'm not here to sort of argue against them all the time, as some people like to. But they make it so hard to respect them and to like them and to think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Well, you see, this is the thing, because I certainly... Prior to all of this noise, I was actually a big fan of what they seemed to be carving out to do, which was finally we were going to see an answer to what happens to the other brother, if you like, or the heir to the, the heir to the spare, or spare to the heir, or whatever it is, which is you've got this person who, by birth, is put in a really difficult position. They've got to carve out a role for themselves. And I thought he is actually doing a great job. He had a difficult time in his 20s. He had a horrible time in his early teens. And I'm sure it was very, very difficult. And I wouldn't want to take any of that away. And he's found somebody finally that he loves. This is great. And I thought, fantastic. You've got enough pretty, beauty, charisma, personality on both of your sides. Go off and do it. Fill your boots.
You sound like RuPaul.
Wow. Fill your boots.
Are you talking about the same ginger and whinger that I'm thinking of?
But then now, yes, but you see, here's what's happened is that because, for whatever reason, they could never receive top billing, and because she's sent him off to some shrink, and she's opened up all the baggage that he had probably dealt with quite adequately himself, thank you very much indeed.
Amazing.
So he now thinks that he's been wronged, and that this should happen in a different way, and that everything that, his brother gets, he should get, and this is so unfair, and da-da-da-da-da, and then, if anything goes against them, oh, they're racist. It's just like, no, this is appalling.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, they haven't just thrown the royal family under the bus, they've thrown the whole of British society under the bus. We're all, according to them, we're all racist. Nothing to do with criticising their hypocrisy.
Are you? If you criticise them, are you racist?
No, of course you're not. But they have also, not every person who criticises them is racist. No. But every racist criticises them. When it comes to Meghan and the kind of attitudes that she's had to put up with, you must recognise that, and that's gonna play on you as an individual.
I think her lack of understanding of the royal family and the institution has kind of poisoned him, because I don't think the rules that apply to the thing is, you're not marrying into a normal family or a normal institution.
But, no, she didn't know anything about that, James. She knew nothing about the royal family.
Well, she knew everything about it.
Of course she did.
Of course she did.
She was watching the royal wedding, Charles and Diana's wedding, when she was a kid.
So we all.
And there was also a leaked picture from years ago of when she was an actress. She was holding up the front page of a magazine on which it had Kate Middleton and a sort of gossip story about Kate Middleton marrying William.
And she was good friends with Eugenie. Oh, but no, I know nothing about the royal family. It's an absolute shock, all these rules. And I have to curtsy to my mother-in-law. I mean, get over yourself, love. But the best royal story today, the absolute best one, this is in the Telegraph exclusives, is the Duke and Duchess of Sussex rejected the title of Earl of Dumbarton for their son Archie because it contained the word dumb. They thought actually that it would lead to the poor little boy being being teased. I mean, teased and bullied.
Well, it's going to be teased because you could have been part of the royal family.
Exactly.
Oh, you're not.
Yeah, exactly. And you've ended up on Netflix as well. Your parents are ginge and whinge. I mean, let's face it. And it also completely ignores the fact that Harry's title is already the Earl of Dumbarton. It was gifted to him by the Queen when he married Meghan.
I think, to be honest, the Queen had a point.
Yeah, absolutely. But it got me thinking to a few other names that we could have. I was thinking the Earl of Scunthorpe could be shortened quite well.
Wow.
Do you not think that might be more apt for them? Or what about Cockfosters? Yeah, you see where I'm going with this one. Bitchford, considering that's what they do. The Count and Countess of Bitchford, seeing as they do an awful lot of it.
Where is that? Where in the UK is that?
That's in Lincolnshire, I think, that one. But my favourite was a tiny hamlet in Dorset, and it's the Duke and Duchess of Shitterton.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough.
That was perfectly apt for them. So God bless them.
Write them a little note. I think they've got a message section on the website actually.
Oh yeah, they have.
So you can let them know.
Yeah. So where you can sort of you're invited to invade their privacy, and because they don't like.
But what do you make, Benjamin? What do you make of the fact that the palace has said that they're not diverse enough?
Well, that's it. So for the first time, they've released the figures on how many ethnic minority staff they have, which I think is about 8%, and they've pledged to get it to 10% by next year or the year after that. Now, I think this is a good thing. I've got a feeling you're going to disagree with me, but, the royal family, I think quite absurdly, is excluded from the equality laws in employment that everyone else of us is if we wish to employ people. In all of our workplaces, I don't see why they should be exempt from it. You shouldn't be able to behave in a way in the palace
I do agree with you on that one,
But
absolutely.
I agree that there should be diversity within the workplace and all the rules, if you like. So, for example, I'm very much looking forward to the result of the bullying inquiry that's been going on elsewhere. I guess the thing is that 76% of all statistics are made up. And as a result of that, it means that the statistics that we got here don't actually tell us anything. Because you don't know whether they're actually getting the proper jobs. So what you really want is you want diversity.
What jobs are they doing?
Exactly. You want diversity of thought within the royal household, as opposed to everybody who cooks and sweeps coming from an ethnic background.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing diverse about having a load of black women cleaning the toilets of the rich white blokes and the royals themselves who run the place.
And what are they going to do if people from ethnic minority backgrounds don't want the jobs? Yeah, and what are they going to drag them off the street saying, you're black, come and have a job with the royal family? It's like, no, I don't want to. I really don't want to.
But I don't think that's a realistic problem. Lots of people would love to work for the royals,
would
right?
You? Oh, Benjamin, would you? Go on.
Well, do you know what? The reason I wouldn't is because they don't pay very well.
No, they don't.
No.
And a friend of mine, who I ended up working with, well, his sister used to work, I believe, for the royal family, and there was a lot of inspection of lavatory seats prior to because whenever Her Majesty was going to visit a place, they always made sure that there was a new lavatory seat for wherever she was going.
And does that include visits?
Yes.
Not just around her
And that's
own
why,
homes.
as the royals often say, that wherever wherever they go, it kind of smells of
It
fresh
smells
paint.
of real paint. Well, I mean,
And fresh lavatory seats.
So if she was popping round your house for a cup of tea,
Yes.
you'd have to refurbish your bathroom.
Well, I mean,
or
to
does
be
she
honest,
not go then? Does she
I don't
sort of
know. I
like...
haven't asked her. She seems to be so happy
I've
so
never
far.
thought of this. But surely the Queen doesn't use the bathroom when she's out on visits. Surely she...
No, I think they have to make sure that there's one available.
But she must... I just kind of imagine her body works like clockwork, that they factor in a schedule that allows for toilet breaks in her own
Well, they
vicinity.
probably do, but you've probably got to have loo breaks, in certain places. I don't think they call them toilet breaks, whatever they do.
I
Now,
never thought of this.
Benjamin, well, quite, but you've got to think of these
you've
things.
got to think about the Queen's bog. I mean, it's...
I could tell you a story or two, which I will do another time, because I want to talk about a children's song, which is
Yes.
all about British unity. This sounds like great fun, Benjamin.
So it's One Britain, One Nation Day. I'm sure we're all aware of this great patriotic occasion. And basically, a guy called Cash Singh, who's a former police officer, friends with some people in senior places in the Tory party, came up with this song that's been written by kids in Bradford, where they sing about strong Britain, great nation, and the idea that is every kid in the school, in primary school across this country, will sing this song and celebrate the brilliance of Britain.
What?
Does that sound all right?
Have you heard the lyrics of this thing?
Why?
Our nation survived through many storms and many wars. We've opened our doors and widened our island shores. We celebrate our differences with love in our hearts, united forever, never apart.
Lovely. But
There's a chorus. We are Britain. We have one dream. Do you not? You know what I've got?
How does it go? I want you to sing it, James. I want the
No,
tune.
I don't want to sing it.
Benjamin,
I'm
what's the
really
tune
sorry.
like?
Well, it goes-
This is crap.
You know,
It's terrible.
It's written by little kids.
I don't care. It's awful. Whoever came up with those ideas should be taken off to the tower.
What's wrong with Rule Britannia or Land of Hope and Glory or
Nothing is
Jerusalem
fantastic.
or
We could do
Three
those.
Lions on Your Shirt?
You can do those.
I mean,
because they're decent songs, nice
Do you
music.
want to know the
Come on,
words?
give us
Do you want a bit of it?
Yeah, go on.
I mean, I was like being on the X Factor. It goes.
Have you been on the X Factor?
No,
Oh.
for good reason.
I can't sing. We're about to find out.
Great nation, strong Britain, great nation. You going to join in?
No,
No.
because my ears are bleeding, and I don't want this.
No, I
Britain is a fantastic nation. I'm sorry, but this is not the way to celebrate our great nation.
Well,
I'll tell you what makes it British, though. What makes it British
Well, there's a
is
big
that
crowd.
everybody has been piling in on the social media saying how terrible this is, and saying, can we stop now?
Well, I'll tell you one man who doesn't think it's terrible, Boris Johnson. So it's emerged in the
Oh,
Times
he's a great judge of everything.
that he heard the song in Downing Street before it was released to the great British public, and he said it was fantastic. It shows fundamental British values, a spokesman for Downing
no,
Street
Where
said.
does it come
But
from?
Boris
though? What does
Johnson-
he know about values?
Boris
in any
Johnson needs to be
case?
taken off by the men in the white coats on that particular thing and just sorted out. It is awful.
I
I'm
mean-
sorry. I love good music. I'm a big fan of
why are we
communal
doing it?
singing and
What's-
experiences and everything else. Do Jerusalem. Do
What's
the other things.
point?
Lovely.
What's the point? I've got a very quick Boris story that goes
go
in
on,
with
go
that.
for a
though.
Boris
and
story.
it is
Does it start blah, 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 blah,
also
blah?
involves the Queen. Any case, Boris is back doing the PM visits to the Queen now. They're
Yes, he
having
is.
tea together rather than doing it all virtually over Zoom.
Yes.
And the first one they had, and the Queen was talking about poor Matt Hancock. Poor Matt Hancock. Oh, right, okay, yeah. And she
Well,
went
at least she
on
wasn't
to
talking about
say,
poor Harry.
Oh, well, she went on to, I don't think she's like to do that, is she? And she went on to say, the health secretary is full of, and Boris Johnson, beans, Mum, beans. And you all know, everybody knows that she's not thinking beans. She's thinking something browner and smellier.
I don't think she would. I don't think she would drop the S bomb.
She will. No, she
No.
didn't say it, but...
Listen,
Oh,
my
come
mum
on,
is
she's
not quite as old as Her
silly.
Majesty, and I've heard her drop the S bomb and the F bomb 3 times in my life, and I'm very old.
The
were they
royals
all about
swear
things you've
like...
done?
Yeah, but Her Madge doesn't.
The royals swear like
Yes,
troopers.
I'm sure they do, but I bet she doesn't.
I've got a great story about Harry not turning up at a public event and his dad making an excuse for him, obviously before the wedding, but I can't say it on air. Family show.
Yeah, but
We
you see,
need to do an
that's yes, but that's
X-rated
Prince
version.
Charles. Her Madge does not swear.
Where do you think he got the language from then, eh?
I can't believe she swears. I mean, I've only just discovered she uses the toilet.
Now, there's a whole load of stories about. I suppose that the difficulty that the government have, that they've now
How long have we
agreed.
got?
So I am perfectly happy to accept that when you have a pandemic, there are things that you need to do. And whilst they said, we have to take these measures, and they brought them in and because we want to get the vaccination done, and then we want to prove that the vaccination works, and then we can start unlocking the country. Fine. Where I start to have real difficulty is when they unlocked last time and the rules were crazy and they didn't make sense. And now they're unlocking this time where it's even worse. You have musicians up and down the nation who are unable to perform, unable to make things viable because apparently you can't open a concert hall. You've got Lord Lloyd Webber taking them to court, all sorts of things, because they're just... There's no consistency, and yet, because the money is there, you can have a football match. Setting that aside, we've got these rules because the variants. We can't go on holiday. We've got the Amber List. We've got, every single article now is taking a look at this and then saying, but yes, how can you then allow 2,500 UEFA officials to come in with that? Well, it's either the vaccine either works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Stop with the stupid rules.
This is the issue, isn't it? And these 2,500 UEFA bigwigs are set to come in for the semi-finals, which I think are around about the 6th of July, and the final on the 11th of July.
Which is fine if they make the rules the same for everybody else.
No quarantine.
No
quarantine.
No testing?
No testing. They don't have to prove. Well,
really?
Supposedly they are meant to say, I've had my vaccination. But, it's not going to happen, is it? And the government is saying, no, they're going to go straight to the hotels, they're going to go straight to the grounds, and then they're going to go home. No, they're not. Live in the real world.
They're going to go wherever they want to go.
Of course they are. And it's just a hypocrisy because you can have all these people there, notwithstanding the ordinary fans being there, but these VIPs who are completely ignoring the rules that the rest of us have to follow. But the poor people, I was going to say a rude word, trying to get married still can't have any singing or dancing at their weddings. I mean, it's insane.
But this is why. How do we make this stop on the basis that I am perfectly happy to follow rules which make sense? I am increasingly frustrated at rules that don't make sense and also the inconsistency of it. You have a rule and it's in place for a reason. We all know that if there is a variant and it's coming through, it's coming from overseas. We didn't shut the borders quickly enough last time and it comes through. Now, we're also told that the vaccine works and it's effective, so let it come in and just let free everybody else.
We have to do that now, James. We have to do that.
I mean, you should have to get tested to go into that massive stadium, and that seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
But the fact that theatres can't open, they relaxed the rules a tiny bit with weddings and funerals having, I think, no limits on the number of guests. Is it more than 30 at least?
Well, it depends on the venue. It depends on the venue. The venue still has to vouch that it is still safe social distancing. So, you can, in theory, have more than 30, but if the venue you're rented out can't socially distance you in that area, and you can't get up and dance, and if you do get up, you've got to wear a mask.
Right.
You can't sing. If you get married at a register, obviously
the fact
one
I can't
piece
sing
of music
is actually irrelevant to the pandemic.
I'm coming to your wedding, provided you don't sing, okay? But
don't sing.
No, just don't sing ever, okay? But it's insane. We just need to open up now.
Piers Morgan and storm off in a minute.
Yeah, it's like we need to open up now. I'm done.
But hang on.
Now you're done. Are you done?
Well, I wish we were done, right? I want to go dancing, okay? I'm much better at dancing than I am singing.
Can you say...
This is not difficult.
No.
You see, because I'm afraid I go to a nightclub and I'm beyond the age at which I should go to a nightclub.
Yes.
So I don't go.
Yes.
But you know what? I'm craving it because so many young people have lost the best years of
That's
I
true.
agree.
I mean, I don't want to be rude, but you're not getting any younger. So, very soon you're going to have to stop going to nightclubs.
Exactly. I'm gonna feel pretty old. But I went to the Test nightclub they did in Liverpool, which feels like yonks
so jealous.
ago.
I saw your post and I
went
want
there,
to go.
And do you know the thing that really struck me as sad is that, well, maybe I was sad because I was about 10 years older than the people that were there as guests. But there were people there that were like 19, 20, and it hadn't just been a year and a half of not being able to go out. It was their original year and a half of being an adult. Those years where you sort of make your mistakes and have loads of fun and, have flings and stuff. They'd lost that, and I thought that was sad. So I'm desperate to get it back. But my point is, we had, 16,000 new cases the other day. It's not going great. And so I think until we've got everyone jabbed up, which should be July 19th,
but do you know
go.
why we had 16,000 more cases?
Because they let the Indian variant
No, because we were testing more. They had a huge surge of testing in Scotland. Yes, Benjamin.
We're not testing more than we were 2 months ago.
It's not. We are. They had a huge surge of testing in Scotland. And so Nicola Sturgeon could out-Trump Boris like she normally does and say, oh, you're opening up then? Well, I'm going to open up later than that because I'm doing everything better than you are. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
But don't go to Manchester.
Don't. No. Well,
no.
See that?
You can't go
Can I ask you, Benjamin, are you happy having left the European Union now that you know that Hungary's Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, is seemingly rather homophobic and that's allowed to continue within the European Union?
Actually legislating as well.
I mean, the EU should have far more backbone on standing up to countries like this, specifically Hungary. Not only have they banned discussing the existence of gay people in schools, but they've made it illegal to be transgender, which is, incredibly inhumane. It's pure nastiness to get away with the fact that he's a terrible leader and his country is floundering under his leadership. But look, we would have been better off in the EU to help Hungary because a country as liberal and as decent as Britain has influence over the EU to take action, and we don't have that when we're outside of it.
Oh.
Better off in the EU.
I'm sorry.
So if we had a referendum,
5 years.
Benjamin,
It was so much
would
better
you
off
vote to go back in?
I would.
Why?
No, no.
Well, look, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not lay awake at night, sort of,
God for
dreaming
that.
about the stars.
Well, because it's not.
But yeah, look, if we did, we would. But I really,
even
we're
though,
really
does it make
over
you feel, okay? Does it make you feel better then on the front page of the Financial Times? Which, since we normally go inside the pages, but let's do a paper that you probably don't read. Berlin and Paris propose a reset for EU relations with Moscow. So there's another country that seems not
really
to have
good human rights. They don't have any gay people in Moscow at all.
And this is all about money and power and everything else. And they've decided, right, okay, we must have better relations with Moscow. Good idea?
Well, it's a good idea to have better relations. Yes, of course it is. You don't want bad relations, do you?
Well, it's not a question of having bad relations, but how can you improve relations with a country where they don't seem to want to have an opposition? They seem to have rather annexed some countries that they shouldn't have done, and they're taking pot shots at our...
They're firing at our boats, Captain Mannering.
Boats.
Yes.
But, I mean,
although I have to say, that story though, the fact that they've got, here's our journalist. Why is there a journalist on a boat?
I didn't understand that either.
It's because they knew they were sparring for a fight when they sent it.
But it's gone completely over the top. On the Mail today, inside, it's like 4 pages.
But he's not the only journalist on there. They've got the BBC, they've got everybody in there.
It's like,
They did. I was confused by that. I thought, is their defence correspondent always on ships like Jane McDonald or something, going out?
Can we just have a bit of anti-wokery just before we move on to some N-Found news? Because everybody loves a bit of anti-wokery. I was very pleased to see that the Royal Academy of Arts has now apologised for the removal of Destival's work from a gift shop, on the basis that just because somebody has different views doesn't mean that you shouldn't engage with them. And if you don't like them, that's fine. You've got to get away from cancelling.
her biggest crime was talking about being a woman talking about being a woman. I mean,
I'm not sure we spend enough time asking women about women's rights on this particular topic. So a lot of people are very upset and saying and indicating that this is a gentleman's agenda that is coming through. I mean, I am very confused.
I mean, to be fair, at least they apologise.
When they ever have polling on these questions of women and trans women, it constantly comes back that most women don't care or don't object, and that it's a relatively small number that really do, get bothered about it.
The problem with everything today, it's the very, very vocal, as you say, it is a minority on social media who is shouting the loudest about all of this.
Most people are pretty relaxed.
It's like the Black Lives Matter movement.
But I want to let people live their lives and just get on with it.
No, I quite
agree.
But
that's the thing. And also, if you ever talk to a transgender woman or any other transgender person, they don't sit there in the morning worrying about what books are in the gift shop
or
what some random school calls their head girl. No. They just want to be respected in work, have the same legal rights as everyone else, and be able to enjoy their lives.
And that's where we've got to get to, as opposed to trying to trawl through somebody's past. And just because they have a different view or, the older you are, chances are you had a different education and you may not necessarily have the same views that maybe you should have in today's world. And it takes, it's an evolution. If you go back into the 50s, people had all manner of views that would be utterly unacceptable today.
Well, my friend, I mean, she's sort of like got teenage sons. She happens to be black. She's got teenage sons. We live in East London. And, she doesn't give a monkeys about statues. What she does care about is the fact that her lad can go out at night in London and not end up stabbed.
Well, if only our mayor would focus on that.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Meanwhile, there is institutional racism, though, at the Barbican. And apparently Sir Nicholas Kenyon has announced his departure as head of the Barbican. But it's apparently he was leaving anyway.
Fine.
And what was the racism question?
So there are a whole range of discussions where and this is an individual, by the way, who's former controller of the BBC Radio 3, director of the Prom, so he's got a very long and distinguished career, and he's been at the Barbican for 14 years. But apparently, allegations of racism emerged last month when members of staff told The Guardian that there was a subtle and insidiously racist work culture. They claimed that there was a noticeable divide between white staff in permanent positions and black staff in casual roles.
Inspiration for the Queen, then. Imagine
there you go. That's how to do it.
This is how it works.
Well, and I'd just like to congratulate him on his job in Clarence House.
Yeah, quite, yeah.
Quite. Do you want to do some and finalists?
I've got a couple of finalists. Am I allowed to do two?
Well, let's see.
This one links in very nicely to Sadiq Khan, who we just mentioned. The woke joke that is the Mayor of London.
I disagree with that.
Evidently, I thought you might. Well, this is the point.
Hang on a second. He hasn't done anything useful for anyone.
Yes, he has.
Go on then.
Well, the cycle lanes, for example, are a great piece of
God's
work.
sake,
Causing more pollution and traffic in London than ever before.
They're not causing more pollution.
I think they are.
This should be a cycle-friendly city, and he's doing a great job on that.
Do you cycle?
But that was Boris who started
I don't cycle. No, I went on a penny.
You take an Uber.
Yeah, you went on Uber and you fell off an Uber.
I went on a penny farthing.
Fell off a penny farthing.
I've fallen out of an Uber once or twice, I suspect.
I bet you have.
But no, I went on a penny farthing around the streets of London because your friend of mine, Jeremy Vine, is an enthusiast. He taught me how to do it. And then I fell off and I ended up in St Thomas Hospital. And let me tell you, when I turned up and the nurse said, "How did you hurt yourself?" I fell off a penny farthing was not the answer that she was expecting.
Everybody enjoys an answer like that. I think there is a discussion about some people who are trying to go from Land's End to John O'Groats on a penny farthing and a unicycle.
Why would you do that?
One of the women I learned how to ride a penny farthing with, I said, "What do you do with a penny farthing?" And she said, "Oh, I'm the first woman to compete in penny farthing polo, which is the single poshest thing I have ever heard."
Penny farthing. I wouldn't be good on a penny farthing.
That's something you'd eat.
No.
Anyway, what would you like to? Where would you like to go next?
Well, I was going to mention linking in with Sadiq Khan, who we seem to have forgotten about.
Oh yes.
The latest.
I was trying to do anything to erase it from my memory.
Well, this is quite a good link. See,
it's like swearing. Why couldn't he just go? Thank God, there's a 2-term limit.
There isn't.
Isn't there?
No, you can do it for as long as he wants, like any other elected politician in this country.
I thought there was a 2-term.
Stop.
No, Ken Livingstone ran for a third time, but lost to Boris Johnson.
Oh, well, he was useless and anti-Semitic, but anyway.
Well, quite any case, the latest fad in home decor is to have a vagina room.
I'm sorry?
A what?
Exactly. There you go. I knew you'd be surprised.
To be fair, I don't think we're going to be interested in that.
I wouldn't be going in there if I had the choice.
It's a chill-out space, is what it is.
For your vagina.
This is a Cara Delevingne idea. She has had a vagina room built in her house, and basically it's a. Well, you need to see a picture, but it's a pink padded room with a certain shaped opening.
Do you think people just have either too much time or money?
She goes in there and she looks for inspiration.
I mean, I feel like Cara Delevingne is trying to outdo you, James, with your column "Rich People's Problems." Because needing a vagina room is not a problem the rest of us have.
Certainly that is not something that will be appearing in or anywhere near my column.
Right, no. Your column and vagina rooms are never going to go with each other, are they? No.
Not.
I have got another one, though.
Oh, God.
Would you want a vagina room?
Probably not. No. I have. The husband has a man cave, which is sometimes I refer. I'm not going down that road. Any case, I've got one final because mine are sort of like.
Yes, come on.
Mine are rude. It's sex.
50p's going to run out.
Let's talk about sex. It's about football. And obviously we are playing Germany next week. And wins at football are top of the league for making fellas want to score in bed. I can see you two are really on that one, aren't you? Yeah.
Don't care about
this is followed by beer.
What beer makes
No, get your beer goggles on.
Yeah, basically.
Anything can happen.
So you watch how it works.
Now we're talking.
You watch the game, you have a few beers, and then you look at the third on the list is you look at naked pictures of your partner. And then you have some rumpy pumpy. Meanwhile, women like sunshine. That's our biggest turn on.
On that bombshell, we must end. Benjamin Butterworth and Dawn Neesom, thank you very much indeed for joining us. And thank you for watching. Until the next time, I'm James Max. Join us on YouTube.
Hit me on the head.
Oh, boo.